with Regulation 141 of the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996, this meeting is being audio recorded and the recording will be published on the town's website within 14 days. Members of the public are cautioned against taking any action as a result of a council decision tonight until such time as the minutes of the meeting are published or have been advised in writing by the council's administration with regard to any particular decision. Elected members are asked to ensure they use the microphones for the purposes of the audio recording. I declare the meeting open at 7:01. So I need a motion, I need a mover and a seconder that Council appoints myself, Councillor Jill Gertzi, to perform the functions of Mayor and Deputy Mayor and to preside at this ordinary council meeting. So could I please have a mover and a seconder? Okay, so Councillor Mayne, Councillor Suwan. All right, all those in favour? Thank you. So we have approved leave of absence, Mayor Barker and Councillor Franklin, and we have apologies from Councillor Paul Kelly and Councillor Ryan Brown. We have disclosures of interest are nil. Response to previous public questions taken on notice are nil. Public question time is nil. We have a statement for public statement time. Ms Samantha Hillbrook of Claremont. If you'd like to come forward to make your statement. And could you please state your name and address for the benefit of the recording?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Samantha Hillbrook and I live at 12 College Road in Claremont. Thank you. I refer to my petition as submitted on the 27th of May regarding shared verges. I believe the report prepared by the Executive and provided in today's agenda has failed to address the reasons provided in the petition and in two instances completely ignored them. They've ignored the first two reasons provided, being no other local council in the western suburbs has a policy of a shared verge, and that the parking local law refers to a singular premises being the premises adjacent to that verge. Neither of these items have been noted or addressed in the report, and these are probably the two most important reasons provided. I believe they outline the expectations of residents in the town of Claremont that when they buy a house here, generally the expectations for the use of a verge are the same as they would be at nearby locations in neighbouring councils. Secondly, if a resident should need to review the Town of Claremont parking policy on the Town of Claremont website, they should be able to easily read it and understand its meaning, being that the exemption for parking on the verge applies to a single property and not multiple properties. The balance of the report is also lacking in any evidence, substantiation or substance, merely stating that the administration does not consider there's a lack of confusion does not make it so. The report does not contain any relevant information or data such that the council or the public can make an informed decision on this topic. I can provide substantiation regarding confusion due to the lack of documentation about shared verges on multiple fronts in my recent experience with the Executive at the Town of Claremont. There is confusion because there is no documented policy published by the Town of Claremont that informs the residents verges are considered shared and what the implications of this are, being far wider reaching than just parking. There are implications for work zone permits, crossover applications, tree removal applications, verge maintenance, etc., etc. There's also no definition of adjacent and what this means to the Town of Claremont, which is clearly something different to its plain English definition. More confusing than this, different application forms on the Town of Claremont website have different meanings for the word adjacent. There is also no mention of requiring consent from neighbours for use of the verge on any of the relevant application forms, including work zone permits. If I had understood that my neighbours would be able to leave their vehicles on the verge indefinitely outside of my house, facing into my front garden, bedroom and living room, I would not have purchased this property. I do not want to sit out the front of my house and look at their cars. I do not want to sit in my living room and look at their cars. I do not want to wake up and look out of my bedroom window to find a dashcam device recording me. The Town of Claremont website does not state that verges are treated as shared, and it is normal to assume that they are not shared because this is not the policy in the remainder of councils in the western suburbs. Talking to my neighbours on my street, they are surprised by this undocumented policy and they do not agree with it. They do not want neighbours parking on the verge in front of their house. I believe the concept of a shared verge is actually a big negative to purchasing a property in the town of Claremont. My petition was very short in numbers, but this only took me half an hour to speak to a few people in my street. I believe that if more residents in the town of Claremont understood this undocumented policy, they would not be in favour of it. I request the council ask the executive to revisit the report and update it to provide independent information relating to all of the reasons provided on the petition so that the council may make a fully informed decision. I also request the council reflect on how much they would like a neighbour to be able to indefinitely park on the verge in front of their home and how this would make them feel every time they walked out of the front door or looked out of their window. And I hope you will reconsider the current policy of a shared verge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 7, applications for leave of absence, nil. Item 8, petitions and deputations and presentations, nil. Item 9, confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. So I need a mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Hatton. I need a seconder. Councillor Suan. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried. Item 10, announcement of confidential matters for which the meeting may be closed to the public. So we have item 17.1.1, which is the lease for Lake Claremont Golf Club, and 17.1.2, PSHB confidentiality deed poll. So item 11, business not dealt with from a previous meeting, is nil. So item 12 is reports from committees. Before we start item 12, what I'm going to suggest is that we move item 13.3.1 forward to the front of the agenda so that we can deal with the petition. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please, to move that forward? Okay, so Councillor Mayne, Councillor Cameron, all those in favour? Thank you, all those in favour. All right, so we'll go directly to item 13.3.1. And I believe we have an amendment for that. Do you want? Okay, all right. I need a mover and a seconder then for that. Councillor Cameron, and seconding it, Councillor Hatton, thank you. Do you want to speak on that, Councillor Cameron?
Yes, I do, Acting Mayor. Look, I have a huge amount of sympathy for Ms Hilbrich and her situation, but I don't believe that the petition, as written, will solve any of those issues. I think we have a complicated issue where we're being asked to take the rights of one neighbour away and give it to another. I think it needs more work on it than simply adopting this petition. I do know that the council is currently reviewing the parking local laws, and I think that's probably a better vehicle to address some of these issues.
Thank you. Councillor Hatton? Okay. Okay, so Councillor Mayne, have we got a seconder for the amendment?
I would like to note the petition and take no further action in relation to this petition and request a review Note the petition and take no further action in relation to the petition, and 2, request a review of the use of verges as part of a broader review in the Parking Local Law 2016. The reason being, to review the use of verges at the time of reviewing the Parking Local Law 2016. It does just happen that at the moment this particular local law is being reviewed, and it is in action as we speak. And so to add this on and do a complete investigation of things like what other councils are doing and definitions and all those different parts of it, I think would actually be a better way to address the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Suan. Would you like to speak to that?
Thank you. I also would just like to say that I also have empathy for Ms Hilbrick. I do live on a property where there is a front and a back on the lot. I'm on the front, and I'm fortunate that I have a great neighbour and we haven't had any issues, but I can see that this could become an issue for lots of people in the neighbourhood. I just think that even if other councils have policies, what we have to recognise is that local laws actually supersede policies. So this is, I agree, the right vehicle to look at this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak against the amendment? Anyone to speak for the amendment? Okay, I'll put the amendment then. All those in favour of the amendment? That's carried, no dissent. So returning to the motion as amended. So does anyone want to speak against the motion as amended? Anyone want to speak for the motion as amended? Okay, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried, no dissent. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll return to item 12, and we're on 12.1.1. So minutes of the Claremont Town Centre Advisory Committee meeting held on the 13th of May. And I'm happy to move this one myself. Can I have a seconder for it? Councillor Suan, thank you. Sorry, I'll just get my notes. Yes, so the Town Centre Advisory Committee noted the resignation of Leslie Thomas, who's the owner of Leluka in Old Theatre Lane. And the committee was very sad to receive her resignation because she's been a very long-term committee member and very involved in the committee. And so the committee wanted to thank her for her valuable contribution. There have been some very successful activations done by the Town Centre. So the Destination Perth competition had attracted 1,700 entrants, and it was the most number of entrants that Destination Perth had ever had in that competition. So that was wonderfully successful. There was also the Luminous Street Festival, which attracted about 4,000 people, and that was despite the first night there being quite a lot of rain. So I gather the second night was absolutely packed out. The nighttime activation grants, there were 15 nighttime activation grants for the last quarter. And as well as that, there were two very successful competitions. There was the July Lux competition and also the Christmas Lux competition. So basically the Town Centre committee was very happy with how things were going. Councillor Suan, have you got anything you'd like to add?
I would just like to add my deepest thanks to Leslie from Leluka. It's very sad to see her go from Old Theatre Lane. She has been a stalwart of that street and has kind of been the glue and has done a lot of great events to try and bring the community to a really iconic part of Claremont. So, yeah, we wish her well and we're sad to see her go. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak on this item? Anyone for or against? I'll put it then. All those in favour? Thanks very much. Carried, no dissent. So 12.2.1, minutes of the Lake Claremont Advisory Committee meeting held on the 15th of May. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Mayne, Councillor Suan. Okay, Councillor Mayne,
Nothing to add, thank you.
Councillor Suan. Anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? I'll put that. All in favour? Thanks, no dissent. Thanks very much. So item 13, reports of the CEO. So 13.1.1, the draft budget for 2025-26. So Councillor Mayne, Councillor Suan. So Councillor Mayne.
Thank you, Miss Acting Mayor. Do I say Miss Acting Mayor? Look, a lot of work has gone into the budget, as always, and we're really lucky to have staff that really know what they're doing. And you hear about what some other councils are doing with their finances, and I just must congratulate them. And we're really lucky to be in a really robust financial situation, and as well as the regular items that are always important. I was just very excited to see that there was some funds for the research on heritage and tree protection. I think that's something that we can afford to do that, and we have such amazing heritage houses with old trees. It'll be very, very exciting to see that research happen. And also, as a part of that, an aerial survey to provide comprehensive data on public and private trees. And I think that we've always been a bit of a sort of a council that's been on top first, and I'm really excited about that. Another thing that's really stood out was that we're going to have precinct parking zones and new signage, and that's around the town centre, because we really are going to have to support these businesses. We're going to have a lot of large-scale construction in the town, and the town centre is going to be a really busy place with lots of builds with our new structure plan that's come into action. And also, it's always lovely to see there's going to be some new Christmas lighting, because I'm a big believer in Christmas.
Thank you, Councillor Mayne. Councillor Suan.
Thank you, Councillor Gertzi. I would also like to add my congratulations to the staff for working their magic. Even though we are in a very fortunate, robust situation, it is challenging to try and keep rates down, and any percentage that we can bring down will help people during cost of living pressures. I think we've successfully balanced maintaining the exceptional level of service that we expect of ourselves at Town of Claremont, whilst also continuing our strong community engagement and advocacy. This includes retaining our major events and supporting local businesses through the specified area rate. In this spirit, we've also approved the procurement of a landscaping design to assess the viability of a major investment in a beautiful community garden, which will include fruit trees, vegetable gardens and outdoor spaces for community classes. So we'll see how that comes in and whether that will be something that we can get off the ground in the future. I've spent the last month travelling in America and Canada, and the places that stand out, the towns that stand out are the ones that have these sorts of places that foster community connection, and I think that's what we try to do, and I think we achieve in the town of Claremont. So I'm very happy that we can maintain that. So all in all, I'm happy to endorse this to go to public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone want to speak against the budget? Anyone want to speak for? Councillor Hatton.
Thank you, Ms Acting Mayor. I'll be quick. Councillor Mayne said that we're very lucky that we're in such a robust financial position, but I don't think there's any luck involved at all. I think it's good management by the staff. Thank you, Ms Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hatton. Councillor Cameron, you want to speak for?
Look, I think everybody's said pretty much what I wanted to say, but I just wanted on record personally, I think the administration's done a great job on this. It's always a balancing act. We're spending other people's money. We've got to spend it wisely, and I think the administration have done a great job doing just that.
Thank you. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried, no dissent. Thank you. So 13.1.2, council policy on LG 527, Fleet Management. So I need a mover and a seconder for this one. Councillor Cameron. Councillor Suan. Councillor Cameron.
No comments.
Councillor Suan.
The changes to the fleet management policy are all fine, and happy to endorse this policy. Thank you.
Anybody want to speak against the policy? Anyone want to speak for? I'll put it then. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried, no dissent. 13.1.3, so annual review of council delegations. So this one needs a, you're moving that, thank you. You're moving that. This one needs an absolute majority. So I move Councillor Cameron. I need a seconder. Councillor Hatton. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. What did we say your title was? Acting Mayor. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, look, this is a requirement, an obligation, and it's just something we need to do, and I think it's been written in an appropriate manner, so I'm very happy to support it.
Councillor Hatton.
Thank you, Ms Acting Mayor. All of these things make sense. It's to make it the officer's job function easier, for the office to function easier, rather than coming back to us for certain things. All of the things that are there make sense. So I'm happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried, absolute majority. 13.1.4, appointment of presiding and deputy presiding members to committees of council. So this also needs an absolute majority. So I need a mover and a seconder for this one. Councillor Cameron, thank you, moving. I need a seconder. Councillor Hatton, thank you. Okay, so Councillor Cameron, have you got some nominations?
As per the similar as the previous point, this is something we have to do, and it's just formalising it. Thank you.
Councillor Cameron, have you got some nominations for the deputy position? So the officer recommendation 2 is that we need a deputy presiding member for the Town of Claremont Advisory Committee, and I'm happy to nominate Councillor Suan for that, and also thank you, Councillor Mayne. The deputy presiding member for the Foreshore Advisory Committee, is that Councillor Suan again? Councillor, okay, so Councillor Mayne seconded that. Deputy presiding member for the Lake Claremont Advisory Committee, I'm happy to nominate Councillor Hatton for that. Councillor Suan seconding that. And then we've got Councillor Kelly nominated. I'm happy to nominate Councillor Kelly for the Complaints Committee. We've got a, okay, thank you, seconded. Now, the mover and the seconder covers those ones, don't they? So we don't need to do those separately. Okay. Okay, so Councillor Cameron, you moved.
As is.
Yeah. So we just go to the whole lot? Okay. Does anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Okay, so we're moving the motion in total. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, carried, no dissent. So that's an absolute majority. So we've got that, thanks. So 13.1.5, monthly statement of financial activity for the period ended 31st of May. A mover and a seconder. Okay, on block, all right. 13.1.6, list of payments, 1 to the 31st of May. Okay, so on block, a mover and a seconder. Okay, Councillor Swan, Councillor Mayne. Councillor Swan,
Happy to support, thank you.
Councillor Mayne. Okay, anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Okay, all those in favour? Carried, no dissent, thank you. 13.2.1, proposed amendment number 143 to local planning scheme number 3, short-term rental accommodation. We got a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor Mayne. Councillor Cameron, thank you.
Thank you,
Councillor
Deputy
Maines.
Mayor. This really is putting in stone to make it very clear if someone would like to have something like an Airbnb or a B&B, where and how they will be going through the motions and where and how they are in a good spot or a not so good spot. And we have the opportunity in the town centre to have hotels, and we're sort of looking at the future of Claremont being quite a tourist destination. It's the end of the train line, so to have these in stone will be very clear for residents. There has been a lot of issues in other councils about residents that have complained that there's party houses or that Airbnb is not working for them, and this gives, in areas like that, the opportunity for residents to be notified and get back to council on their views. And I think that it makes it very clear for anyone interested in housing someone or are going to live near them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron?
Nothing to add.
Okay, anybody want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Okay, I'll put that then. Okay, all those in favour? Carried, no dissent. 13.2.2, Airlie Street Traffic Study. Mover Councillor Swan, Councillor Cameron, thank you.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Yes, we asked the town to commission this study after the very significant build of the Grove. A lot of the residents and neighbouring streets were very concerned about the impact of that development on traffic. So this independent study looked at improvements potentially for around and the effect of the traffic on Airlie Street, Bindaring Parade, Osborne Parade, Anstey Street and Richardson Ave. I was particularly interested in this report as I live opposite Airlie Street. The study found that the development is not a significant contributor to congestion. The real issue they found is through the downstream queuing on Stirling Highway, mainly from Eric Street, Osborne Parade intersection and possibly further north. The suggestion is that a broader corridor-wide investigation of Stirling Highway is needed to address the root causes. We know there is a bank up along Stirling Highway. However, the Grove hasn't materially changed anything in that regard. So it continues to be probably the school traffic and peak hour traffic. So I totally agree with the recommendation that we work with Main Roads and neighbouring councils and the Western Suburbs Alliance to lobby and advocate for some serious consideration of what we do in that space. The only thing I would note is that even though the report shows that traffic hasn't materially changed, I do believe that street parking on Airlie Street has definitely worsened. My belief is that the visitor parking signs outside the Grove are not visible enough, and so tradies and visitors to residents in the Grove are parking on the street, and that is causing a lot of mayhem and grief amongst the residents on Airlie Street. That's another issue, but just something that I wanted to note. So that's something that maybe we need to ask the Grove to improve their signage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cameron, nothing to add. Okay, anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Councillor Mayne, speaking for.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I agree with Councillor Swan that the traffic study will go some way to confirming that the traffic chaos on Stirling Highway And the feeder road network is, it's a bigger problem than just the one development. But Stirling Highway is going to have a replica of these developments going right down to Nedlands and right up to Fremantle. The commuter and school traffic are a huge issue for the whole of the highway, and ignoring the traffic implications until after these new developments occur seems the wrong way to plan for the future. There's no plans by Main Roads for any changes to Stirling Highway in the next 10 years. They don't have any thoughts on even an idea of sort of looking at the options. There's no money put away for it, and for me it's like, it's just showing you the ginormous traffic jams, and this is only the beginning.
Thank you, Councillor Main. Anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Okay, I'll put it then. Thank you. All those in favour? Carried, no dissent. Thank you. Okay, 13.4.1, extension to Claremont North East Precinct Structure Plan and Design Guidelines. So a mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Cameron. Seconder. Councillor Suwan, thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. I think this is essential in order to make it easier to continue operating the structure and design guidelines. We've got a few properties that are still to be developed, and extending this North-East Precinct Structure Plan and Design Guidelines will help make that easier.
Thank you. Councillor Suwan.
Yes, the CEO does hold the delegated authority to deal with this, but it was very appropriate for her to bring this to council to formally resolve that we seek this extension. 10 years is not a very long time when you're thinking of a big area like the North-East Precinct design structure area. So yes, I think it's important that we keep that structure plan in place. So I support this recommendation.
Thank you. Anyone want to speak against? Anyone want to speak for? Okay, I'll put that. All those in favour? Carried, no dissent. So item 14, so announcement by the presiding person. So my announcement is I've been away, so I haven't attended anything. Councillor Suwan?
Same. I've been away too, but I did spend a little bit of time on my travels thinking about what's great out there and what we can bring back to town of Claremont, and I was particularly interested in the city pocket parks. I was very, very impressed with Bryant Park in New York, and I've taken loads of pictures which I'll send through to everybody and administration on how they did that very, very well. And also Boston Public Gardens was another area that was beautifully put together. So I'm hoping that in the future we'll have our own pocket park and community garden. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Main?
I was the only poor councillor that hasn't been on holiday over winter, but that meant that I went to everything that I could. I went to the photo competition prize giving, and this junior competition was the sensational photos and the enthusiastic students that have taken these photos, and I presume also lots of really enthusiastic teachers that are teaching photography at the schools. There were some brilliant photos, and I just think it's great that we can encourage the youth in different ways, and there's nothing like a competition to get them going. Went to History in a Coffee Cup, which was on real estate, which could have been anything, but it was fascinating. It was a really, really good talk. And Councillor Hatton and I went to the tennis club. They had a fundraiser for breast cancer, and we had a lovely time with some amazing cakes. and I attended the traffic management meeting with Walga, where we are discussing different ways to sort out that darn traffic.
Thank you. Councillor Hatton?
Thank you. I went to the Friends of Lake Claremont Busy Bee. I also, with Councillor May, went to the big morning tea. Went to the Central Zone meeting last week in this room and froze to death. Went to night chats last week, and I attended online the Walga cat workshop. So I've got a few little notes here which you might find of interest. It was a webinar. There's about 500,000 pet cats in Perth, would you believe? In Perth, yeah, 500,000. And they were saying that indoor cats live up to 10 years longer than cats that are let out. Roaming pets kill, per cat, 186 animals, reptiles and birds every year. And that makes 47 million in Greater Perth that are killed per annum, and 546 million in Australia killed, and of those 332 million are native animals, birds and reptiles. And roaming cats, which is what they call cats that are allowed out, can learn to live inside quite happily. The Cat Act 2011, 26 councils have applied to the state government for containment, and only 3 have been successful. They are Northern Narrogin and Christmas Island. Who would have thought they had cats on Christmas Island? The 2019 review of the Cat Act, 73% people want cats permanently contained. Then we had some speakers from Brisbane City Council, the ACT and Bendigo, and they've all got containment laws. Brisbane was the most interesting, I thought, because they make sure the offences are not limited to cats, it's animals, all domestic animals, not just cats. And all of the domestic animals have to be in enclosures. And they also take it from a Biosecurity Act perspective, whereas the cat is viewed as an invasive species, as are all the other animals. Bendigo is just undertaking it. They're going for the long-term generational change rather than just a quick implementation. And the ACT is doing a phased-in approach. So the ACT, all new suburbs must be a cat-contained suburb. And they're advocating from a cat welfare base, like preventing diseases, accidents, but you have to provide an enriching environment. And their raison d'etre really for all of them is they are promoting responsible cat ownership, registration and desexing. And I thought it was a really interesting workshop. That's all, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hatton. Councillor Cameron?
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Normally you ask me first. Because I was going to say just what Councillor Swan says, because I have been away also travelling, and it's the first time I've done a decent overseas trip since I've been a councillor. And it is funny how your perspective changes. You start looking things differently through a different lens. Like Councillor Swan, I've come back with some ideas, but equally, I think it highlights what we do well and how good we have it here. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't attended any local things because I haven't been here.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Item 15, elected members' motions of which previous notice has been given is nil. 16, new business of an urgent nature is nil. Item 17 is confidential items for which the meeting may be closed. So I need a motion to close the doors. Councillor Hatton, need a seconder. Councillor Main, thank you. All those in favour? Go behind closed doors. Item 17.1.1, lease for Lake Claremont Golf Course. The Council authorises the Chief Executive Officer to vary the lease agreement with Golf Oracle Proprietary Limited for 30 Lapsley Road, Claremont, on the terms set out in this report. Item 17.1.2, PSHB confidentiality deed poll, that Council supports the Chief Executive Officer to sign the DPERB confidentiality deed poll, subject to the Town of Claremont joining with Walga and other local governments in advocating for a review of the deed's terms with the aim of supporting a coordinated regional response to PSHB. Item 18, future meetings of Council. So the next Council meeting is the special Council meeting on Wednesday the 9th of July at 6 o'clock. That's interesting. Wednesday the 9th of July at 6 o'clock. And item 19, declaration of closure of meeting at 7:46. It's Wednesday the 9th of July. So yeah, it's a Wednesday. Meeting closed. Thank you.